pointing that out. So we have a FortiGate 81E with PoE integrated. If we look at the, we can look at the front panel of the FortiGate here. Say, 12 ports plus 4 additional ports, 2 WAN ports. This is quite a popular device. The 81 has a inbuilt SSD storage, 128 megabytes to keep the logs. It also, the storage can also be used for SD-WAN capability and content caching. So there's quite a bit of capability in this little box to the point that was raised. And then in many cases, people want their access switch to be in maybe a wire closet or a different physical location. So in this case, we have a Forti switch, and then the APs, obviously a separate box to be hung on the ceiling. So if you look at the dashboard is showing the various metrics about the box, the physical topology that I was showing in the other case. So here you have the 81E, we have the switch, and then we have the AP, and we have a few devices that's connected to it. So we have an iPhone here, a Windows box, etc. And while I'm here, let me just quickly show the steps that I was talking about creating an SSID. So if I want to set up a network, I can start by creating a SSID, which allows me to select if I want a tunnel SSID or a bridge, or if it's a mesh, I can set up my IP address, tell it it's a DHCP server or not, and on that interface, set up the SSID, whether I want the personal or enterprise, which radius server. And so I think you also asked the question, if I don't want to buy a FortiAuthenticator and it's a small network, it allows me to actually set up an internal radius server as well. So either I can do local or I can go external. So I can say I want my local radius server. And it gives you the various options that we should have on the GUI. The CLI has a lot more, but we generally try to have a reduced number of boxes to click on. So once I create an SSID, then I can attach it to an AP profile. Oh, well, actually, I had one there, so let me actually go click on it. So this is for the one that's in front of me right now. So 2 radios, so it shows me the 2 sections. I can set up for 2.4, set up the different channel bandwidth, which specific channels I want. Do I want the FortiPresence feature turned on? We also have Ekahau and AeroScout location tag support as well. And for Wi-Fi location tracking, we can also turn on the ability to just forward the probe packets so that we can turn on unconnected device tracking as well. So the final step is that the managed AP, once it's plugged in, it will discover the FortiGate, and it's a matter of connecting the profile to the specific AP or AP group, and it gives you some override functions. So it's pretty much as simple as create SSID, stick it in a profile, and attach the profile to the AP. And then if I go under a network section, the wireless, it says TF day here. It appears next to these physical interfaces. So I have a software switch, I have my WAN ports, and then I have my wireless ports. And if I have other quarantine wireless VLANs, that also appears here. And once I have a virtual interface, then I can use this in the policy. So in this case, and I'll just say create new. So the incoming interface, you'll see the physical interfaces, but you also see the wireless interface as one of the interfaces. I can say from this wireless network to WAN for, let's say, all the traffic, and I can actually reduce the number to, say, devices that are tagged as IoT, and say IoT devices are not allowed to go to this destination. So all of that is done here. I can schedule the policy. I can even select the services that I want. So I'm going to select all. And then if it's going to WAN port, I would turn on NATing. If it's an internal routing, once I turn off NATing, it will actually automatically route. And then this is where I can turn on the various capabilities, for antivirus, et cetera. And so if I go deeper, if I want to edit what kind of web filtering I want, and I don't want people to see this, or I can check it to see, that I want people to see this, and then I apply it, and now the policy gets updated as far as web DNS filtering, SSL inspection, and off you go. So that's kind of a tour of how you would set up a wireless network and apply all the policies.
Quick question: do you have wireless point-to-point bridges?
Point-to-point, we have mesh, so we can set up a full mesh topology. Yeah.
And you have external antennas, so they could.
Yeah. To my surprise, actually, we have quite a few mesh deployments. We have Coast Guard that puts the APs on masts, and as the ships go past each other, the links break and rejoin, so that they don't have to go through a satellite link. We do support. We don't have to put a limit on number of hops that our mesh can take, but more than 2-3 hops, it obviously degrades the performance. We even have city buses that use our wireless off of towers. There's quite a few things, to my surprise, that we've had mesh deployments.
Can you disable client access and just restrict the mesh to being a bridge and then Ethernet off at the end?
Yes. Okay. Yeah. So when you, if I go back to this SSID, you saw 3 types of SSIDs here. So we have a tunnel, bridge, and a mesh. So mesh is just for Fortinet access points to hang off of. And it can restrict the traffic just to Fortinet mesh traffic.
What kind of training options do you have available for this interface and using your systems?
That's a great question. So we have a very extensive training program. Maybe I can even bring it up. It's called the NSE program. So NSEs, there is 8 levels of NSE training. The first 3 are sales training. 4 through 7 are technical. 8 is on hands-on lab, kind of like how you go through a CCIE 2-day, 3-day course. And so there are not that many NSE 8 certified folks out there. NSE 3 has a wireless section. I think NSE 6, Chris, is it NSE 6 that has a wireless?
Yes.
Okay, so NSE 6 has wireless training both on the controller as well as the FortiGate portion. I think training, to your point, is one of the items that has come up quite a bit. And we are doing a fast track training as well, right? It's called NSE Fast Track, is it?
That is true. We have fast track training for our partner base to try and get them up to speed and understand it. And there's also an initiative underway to see what we can do to make NSE classes even more available to people who want to learn about technology as well as Fortinet product.
Right.
I must have missed, what does NSE stand for?
I know it's confusing. There's no
Network
F for
security.
40 in there.
Right.
Network security expert.
Network security expert.
Right.
Okay.
But who asked the training question? And tell me more about the background of that. I guess there was a...
I was just, you're inside an interface making lots of decisions.
Okay.
And that, to me, speaks of training. There's a need for training, because people would look at that, they go, why would I click here?
Okay.
And then that means they need
Got
something
it.
to tell them why they should click there.
Perfect. So I would say up to this point, many of the customers have been Fortinet familiar customers, so the GUI has been familiar to them. But we are trying to change that. Now we are trying to go through, maybe especially with events like this. We are a wireless company that happens to be very good at security. So if the training through a dashboard is a feedback that I've gotten a lot, especially from our resellers, that we really know how to sell the security side, teach us how to sell the wireless side.
Because your process of build SSID, attach an SSID to a profile, attach the profile to something else, that's not how most SMB APs are configured.
Okay. Yeah, we basically try to simplify it to say, okay, once you set up SSID, then you have your wireless network, and now you need to attach it wherever you want to attach it. And
You attach it to an interface.
the SSID is the interface, and I attached it to an
I'm
access.
saying that is
Oh,
that is
yeah.
way unique in the world.
I-
It really is, yeah.
That is not how people view SSIDs. SSIDs get attached to an interface. Your SSID is
Is
your
the
interface,
interface, correct.
which is why people go, what? Where do I apply this? And it's the thing you,
You already did it.
You treat it like a firewall policy in Fortinet, essentially.
yeah.
Right? So yeah, the process of you just clicking on that button, it has created an interface across the entire fabric, and now you just need to tell where that interface to be. And if you created that interface in tunnel mode, you don't need to worry about telling the AP to tunnel all this traffic up your core network all the way to your edge so that it can be secure. It already is, right? Because it already goes through a secure tunnel.
I've got a quick question. I see that you've got different features that are available to even just demo, because I've been in the FortiAP with the demo account,
Yeah.
and I don't see the option under, I don't even see wait, am I lying? Am I in the wrong space?
Let me go there.
Never
Do you have
mind,
time?
I'm in the wrong space.
Oh, there we go. All
I
right.
was under network, and I was looking for it under there. I thought so. Never mind.
All right, perfect. Yeah, you should see the
There.
same thing. The only thing that you know, because it's a demo environment, we've taken all of these things that you can mess around with the configuration, but you should be able to see almost all of it.
Do you have
Yeah, I
a
love
command line interface? And
Yeah.
If you do, are there any configurations that you can do there that you cannot do in the GUI?
The command line interface is the superset, so you can do everything in the command line, and the subset is the GUI. So you know, I got the command line pretty easily. You can detach it.
I guess that
So
was
you
a
can
yes to your
do
question. That was a yes to your question.
config wireless controller, let's say WTP, and show full, and then you can kind of see what's configured there for that particular AP.
You
That's
also offer
interesting. You've
APIs.
redirected right to
Yeah.
a browser, like a
Yeah,
Java
Yeah.
console, right?
yeah, it's a Java console. So if I close it, it goes back, and then you can.
Now, is this still? Can we still get in this through SSH? Right.
Yeah, SSH is there. You can do SSH as well, for sure. Yeah.
That same functionality is in the WLC as well.
Does the packet capture work on the wireless controller interface?
On this, yes, it does. Yes. So if I basically, let's say I go to my LAN ports, I just wanted to answer the management, so you can manage it through SSH, and usually we turn off, in fact, we've taken Telnet off of the GUI because we don't want people to use that. This one has an I next to it. So these are all the different ways. CapApp is also an administrative option. If you don't want access points to discover the FortiGate, you click off CapApp, and then that interface will not discover access points. By default, it's on. So it's just a plug and play. Awesome.
So one of the things we've seen this week, especially, is troubleshooting a client issue.
Okay.
That someone calls into help desk,
Yeah.
Fred's having trouble. How would you use this system to track down an individual
Yeah.
MAC address, and which AP are they associated to? What's their current signal strength? To do that kind of.
Yeah, I've noticed that. I mean, I don't know why there's so many problems out there. I mean, it just seems like everybody's just talking about that. Let's go beyond that. All right, so this is our Wi-Fi client monitor from a simple view, and there's all these different types of other information available on it. If you just wanted to see the high-level information, signal strength, etc., you can take this information and these MAC addresses and use this in, well, let me just go to FortiView. So FortiView has the same type of information, and this allows you to do the digging on the different APs, on the different clients. And if you really wanted to dig deeper, Wi-Fi events, this is the other one that I showed you the screenshot on, where you can filter. So if I click on here, and I can say, okay, filter by this client ID, or I can even just take a MAC address off of here. So let me actually do that.
So can you do multiple filters?
You can, yeah. So let me see if I can.
By the way, you're doing a really good demo. You obviously know the product.
So over here, you can do Station Mac, right, which is our wireless. And then these are the available options for Station Mac. I will pick this guy. And these are all the different events that this logging level has captured. Notice it basically is just authenticated IP address, et cetera. If I turn on the verbose logging, then you get all of the different details of four-way handshake, blah, blah, blah. Yeah. But
And this is without a special logging appliance.
no, it's already doing it. Yeah, there's nothing special about it.
But you do have another one if you want a long-term.
Yeah, you can connect it to a FortiAnalyzer and the FortiAnalyzer VM or appliance. And also FortiAnalyzer you can run in Amazon as well. So we actually have an Amazon instance of FortiAnalyzer that you can use. And that basically gives you as much logging as you got disk available. Yep. All right, so where I wanted to, I don't know how much, we're doing good on time. So the demo that I wanted to do is to show you this indication of compromise and auto and the actions. And so so we saw the physical topology. We saw that there were few clients connected here. And then we have this automation portion. Let's see. Okay, so this is the automation capability that says, these are the different triggers that I can put in. The only one I've clicked on, it says if you find a compromised host, then do these actions. So you can either just send an email or pop up a FortiExplorer notification, which is an iPhone app, or actually do a quarantine and IP address ban. So it will put the person on a quarantine VLAN, and it will ban that IP across the entire fabric. So that's the automatic, we call them fabric stitches. So that's the automatic stitch that's put in there. And there's a host here that I have that's set up to with some malware on it that will go to some malicious websites, et cetera. It will take a few minutes for that to come up, and I probably should have plugged that in earlier. But after it comes up, we'll see the actions take place. So this is really where the action starts to take place with respect to the client popping up to the network, and see 4 clients there. I'll just wait for a 5th one to come on, and off it goes.
Hey, Koroush,
Yes.
while you're waiting for the client to pop up, because
Yeah.
I know those things take a little bit of time to boot,
Yeah.
did you want to show them some of the switch integration since we've got it up?
The switch integration, okay. Are you talking about this particular?
Yeah, just show them how you can actually see what port things are hanging off of. And
Yeah, that's a good idea. So this is where I was talking about the various ports. So I'm looking at the FortiGate, not the switch, but the switch and all the different virtual switches that you may that all the physical switches will appear under the FortiGate, and you can manage it from here. You can see what are devices that are connected, how much power each switch has. And if I wanted to attach a policy to a switch port, I can do that here. The thing that actually is I can set up the various switch features, but let me see. The VLANs, I think is okay. So if you want to change a VLAN of a port, notice I don't have any VLAN numbers. So you can set up various zones, if you will, security zones, and you can just change a security zone on a switch port. So I can just take this and say, okay, now this is a FortiLink port. I can create one, and all of a sudden I got a new segment of the network that's painted onto this access port. All right, so let's go back to the security fabric portion. We'll see the 4 devices. Should be on, yeah. Okay, so the 5th device is here. Looks like it's probably this one, right? I had 4 before, now I have 5. Oh, there we go, okay. I have more. So this is where you see all right, so this is where a new device came on the network. As it connected to the network, this wasn't with any clients and such. This was a device that was at home, was brought back. It was, in this particular case, it had some spyware on it, so it was trying to go to a command and control.
Are the stripes a visual indicator to you of something? Like,
Yeah,
that
it's basically, it's a quarantine symbol, that this person is now in a quarantine zone.
striper?
Yeah. Caution, this person is now off your network. You could get a help desk call that, hey, why can't I not answer the network? We should hire you in our marketing team. That's
You mean your Forta marketing team?
Oh, nice. So that's basically a demonstration of this capability, and
I like that zoom in feature, by the way.
Yeah.
That is really nice.
That's for Keith.
Yeah, that was for you.
So
Is it the
Forta
Forta Zoom
Zoom
feature?
Yes.
Forta Zoom.
That's my.
Every word you say has to be preceded by 4.
oh, favorites. There you go. Sorry.
Yeah, going to.
And
You just said like 5 without it.
40 yes.
yeah, and then that person ends up being in this particular list that it says quarantined by Automation Stitch, and now IT basically can go and.
I think you had in the policy a notification that you could have set email, do something else as well.
I could have sent an email as well that, hey, such a thing just took place. Absolutely. Absolutely. It also can, we have AWS Lambda, so you can actually launch a whole function on AWS to do whatever you want to do. So it's meant to be a trigger, automated action. And you can, if you're good at scripting, and a lot of our managed service providers do hire our professional services team to do certain set of scripts, send email to the end customer, hey, you have this particular thing that just went on your network. All right, I'm going to end here. And any questions before I hand it off to?
Yeah, actually.
Yes, sir.
So now we've seen obviously the wireless controller built into the FortiGate appliance. Now, if you're talking about the actual wireless controller that you make, right? Okay. What are the feature parities? Do we have a lot of feature parity between the two, or is there?
That's a great question. I would say that this actually leads me to this slide. So the wireless controller is good for, I would say, campus deployments, or a metric that I use is that if you need inter-controller roaming,
right?
This doesn't have inter-controller roaming features, right? So if you have a large university campus and you have 7 different controllers and you need the roaming, then you would want to use the FWLC. If you have a college campus that you can run everything off of a device, and this is the typical deployment that you see. The FortiGate is in the middle. You got the 40 switches hanging off of it with 40 APs, 40 authenticator cluster, 40 extender for either backup, and we actually have sites that are looking at dual 40 extenders and no terrestrial links. This is now reality with 4G and later on with 5G networks that we already support as far as technology goes. 40 Manager, 40 Analyzer, which you saw what the capabilities of it were. 40 Guard obviously feeds the FortiGate, and then the 40 Presence in case you want the analytics